got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, D-R-O-P.
All right, we are here today with Ed Coyon, Director of Running or Head of Global Product. Maybe there's probably even another title thrown in there that I don't even know about. For On, based out of Switzerland. You're actually in Switzerland right now, right?
Exactly, yeah, I'm in Zurich.
Which I feel bad about because is this the time that you're getting off of work?
Oh no, it's perfect actually. Yeah. Okay. Afternoon, like 5 p.m. So yeah, all good. Okay. Yeah, I'm usually at work at this time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because it's a lot earlier in the morning here. So we're just getting started. You're wrapping up your day. But speaking of your work day, it's been pretty exciting for On. I think there's been a lot of new things happening over the last few years since you've been there. A lot of new things coming down the line. But first, can I get a background on who you are and how you came to be in this position that's honestly seems pretty exciting at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how far you want me to go back, but yeah, I think running has been a big part of my life. I ran track when I was younger, engineering education, and then realized I wanted to combine a little bit my passion for running and my work. Long story short, I ended up working for Adidas in the running team in 2008. Learned a lot over there, moved to Salomon, and ultimately ended up at On 5 years ago. Wow. And really excited by the chance to contribute to building running here and to contribute to this big mission to be a leading running brand. So so very excited journey here.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from France.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So you grew up in France, and then did you also go to university in France as well?
Yeah, I went to university in France. I had a year at UCLA to wrap up my university with some research in running biomechanics, which is a bit further away from what I do today, but really helping me to understand how running shoes work and how consumers run, and making sure that we bring everything together.
And then, so you were at Adidas. Don't worry, we won't spend too much time here. But you were there right around. I mean, that was when the Adi Zero line was really off.
I mean, Haile Gebrselassie, like the yellow Adios. Yeah. Like to me, like really, like best in class shoes at the time. I mean, I was a massive fan of the Adi Zero line, and the fit of these shoes were excellent. And I mean, shoes have evolved quite a bit since, but I would say definitely my quiver of shoes at the time was Adios, Boston, Tempo.
And did you? Oh yeah, those are great. Did you work on those models as well while you were there?
No, I mean, I actually started with running apparel over there. And then moved to running footwear, which was closer to my skills as an engineer as well. Okay. And worked on entry level trail. We're all super connected. I'm actually still working today at On with people who worked on this Adi Zero line back in the day. So
oh wow, that's cool. Nice. And okay, so tell me. So you came to On in 2020. Is that about right?
Exactly, yeah.
So that's quite the year to start a new position at a company. I mean, it was right in the beginning of COVID, but also you had On, which was really starting to gain traction.
No, On was gaining traction, but not with running. Was gaining traction was a shoe called the Cloud, and I were a big ambition to win in running. I mean, I pitched myself like I know running, and I have the mindset to bring us there, and we just started laying out everything that we had. We had a lot of work to do, but we believed we had a strong technology that could stand out and bring something new in the industry when executed in the right way. came up with Monster, came up with Runner, came up with Surfer, and it's been an exciting journey. Like not just looking at what everybody else is doing, but really trying to come with a new way or a new experience of running and bring this to the consumer.
So I want to go back a little bit. So when On first started, and I'm not sure how many people know this, but is it true that the whole idea, the concept was obviously to have this cloud-like sensation underfoot or with pods, and were the first prototypes indeed a plate with a rubber hose cut in half for each segment
Exactly,
of the cloud pods? Okay. That then basically, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a student from the University of Zurich who had this idea and ran it through an athlete who's one of our founder, Olivier. And I think if you go back in time, running at the time was not as popular as it is today. It was, I almost want to say, not fun. I mean, I would say at the time, my friends were making fun of me for being a runner. And, but these shoes were somehow fun to run in. Like they were bringing a new experience. They were softer, in comparison to shoes at the time. And that's why Olivier thought there was something to build with it. And he brought his two partners. They believed in it. They built something unique. But this was on in running in the beginning. And then, you try a few things, and at some point there is one model that puts you on the map, and that model happened to be the Cloud.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think the company had some money, and how do you scale up from there? And to build a strong sportswear brand, you need to be very credible in sports, and running was our sport, and we want to make sure that we win in running to continue to scale up as a brand.
Yeah, I mean, but there were always running shoes in like going back to the Cloud Swift, or
yes,
I even remember the Cloud Ace, wearing that shoe. Which, does that exist anymore? The Cloud Ace?
Not anymore.
Okay, I remember that was a little bit of a tank when I wore it.
No, I mean, we had to clean up the range. I mean, Stratos as well. I think, to me, everything's like the revolution, in a way, if I can call it this way, started with Stratos. We managed to make the Stratos a better running shoe with the right foam, with the right geometries. And I think in 2021, the Stratos was a really good running shoe before the Monster and Runner came to market. So, there were definitely a line of products. And I was actually just sharing the story with a colleague just before that. I did a survey in the company in 2020, and the favorite shoe from employees was the Cloudsurfer with the Robbe CloudTec, which was interesting because it was a little bit old school in a way, but our technology had something that made people excited. Now we had to just upgrade and modernize a little bit the shoe to be competitive with the top brands.
Yeah, so there was a lot of, sort of when you came on and when you started going more into running, and there was a lot of change in the shoes. Specifically, the Speedboard was a big one that I feel like changed how On shoes were. And I can't remember, was the first Cloud Monster the first shoe without the Speedboard, or was that first running shoe?
Cloudsurfer was the first one, yeah.
And then the Cloud Monster. So what was the decision to move away from that to go, and for those who don't know, the Speedboard used to be
it's a plate,
a plate, but a plastic or fiber. I'm not sure what fiberglass or whatever plate inside the shoe that would kind of provide some stability, or I guess you can tell me exactly what it was designed for originally.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at CloudTec in its original version, you had the independent clouds. They were like moving independently, and really also a benefit of CloudTec was to adapt to different running forms. And then, the Speedboard was kind of connecting everything together to create a smoother ride. now as we came up with different way to execute CloudTec, and typically CloudTec Phase, I really will talk about it today because that's the technology we have in Surfer Max. You don't need that plate to connect everything. On some models, a lighter shoe, a shoe that is just ultimately more comfortable underfoot, is also a benefit. So on a Monster, we keep a plate because the plate really helps to have a shoe that feels that dynamic, that it gives that strong rocker that makes the Monster unique, and which is what people love. A plate in carbon is still something that we use in high performance for racing, but for everyday training, we've decided to go without a plate.
Yeah,
to bring more comfort. Yeah,
I think that definitely changed things a lot for On. I always felt that the plate, personally, was just added too much rigidity to it. I understand what you're saying in that it held the independent pods from moving too crazily, but I felt like it was just always too firm, having that plate right under the foot, and then the pods, which weren't exactly soft. Like the rubber pods were, they weren't really foam, like a midsole foam that you find nowadays. So especially as things were transitioning more to those softer foams, higher stacks, I felt like what you're saying, that was basically something you guys had to do.
I think what's interesting is race shoes have a plate, and the plate is helping to basically go faster or feel faster. Daily trainers have no plate, and this is also the way we organize the range. Like, if you want comfort, you don't need a plate. If you want speed, you need a plate, and basically that's the way we build the range.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And so at that same time, you also started you came out with your Helion foam, what can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had Helium foam for a while. I think what makes On unique is CloudTec, and CloudTec it's about sculpting the foam or creating. I mean, you know the clouds, like the holes, but on CloudTec Phase it's a different shape, and it's really the engineering of the foam ultimately. And to engineer the foam, you cannot use any foam. You have to use a foam that works with the structure that you build. So it's really it's an engineering challenge to have the foam that brings the benefit that you want, being comfort or softness or energy return, but at the same time, the engineering and creating that structure that can amplify the benefit of the foam. So Helion was the main foam that we've been using for a while, and now we also use what we call Helion HF, which is our high performance, or let's say new generation of foam. Right. The reality is, behind these two names, there's about 15 different formulas. And so there's different recipes behind Helion. There's different recipes behind Helion HF. We just want to simplify it for the consumer. But if you want to get into the details, really trying to identify the best foam to get to a consumer benefit.
Yeah. So let me talk about that for a second, because this is something that I think with other brands as well. You have New Balance with Fuel Cell, Nike with React or React X, and there's these different, and even Adizero, even Adidas and the LightSpray Pro, they have different. There's a name for these foams, but then there's also within different models, the durometer is quite different. I feel like this happens a lot with. I feel like this is most noticeable to me in Fuel Cell, but you'll see the name on the shoe, or you'll see Fresh Foam Max or whatever, and it's like, I understand you can't have 15 different names for 15 different durometers, but how do you balance that out for the consumer so that their expectations for this shoe aren't offset by another shoe that might be a little bit firmer, different feeling?
I mean, I would go back to, first we start with the consumer, and we try to understand different use cases. So there might be a daily run, there might be a long run, there might be a tempo run or a race. And we build our range architecture around that. At On, we also like to create experiences. Like, for people who want stability, we like to really go a bit further, and ultimately they might be new to running, they might be back from injury. How do we bring them confidence? How do we bring that comfort, that support, and that just experience that the product or the shoe is never gonna let them down. And then it comes to the foam, and too soft is not really confident. Too firm is not bring any confidence. So it's about iterations and using different foams until we find the one that is really working. So I would say the reality, maybe for each experience, we'll use a different foam. Sometimes within the franchise or within one of these stories, like you have, let's say, an entry level on maybe a top level where you will be able to afford a foam that brings other benefits. So if you really want to zoom into foam detail, there might be a lot of complexity. We just ultimately, each model is connected to a use case. We're trying to make the best possible shoe for that use case. We pick the ingredients. It's a bit of trust. Like it's like a recipe. Ultimately, we pick the best ingredients to get to the best benefit for that use case. Now, when we want to tell that story, we have to find a way to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And to me, the most interesting story is the recipe. It's not just the ingredients, I think.
Yeah.
Let's like trust us that we source the best ingredients, but ultimately the story I want to tell you about how this shoe is built is the recipe about how we picked the best ingredients in such a way to give you that experience of confidence or that experience of running fast.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I want to talk about some of the other technologies that we've kind of seen in on shoes. So we've seen the CloudTec Phase, which is more of a it's not, I would say, just forward motion. It's hard to describe. I'm trying to how would you best describe CloudTec Phase or the purpose of it?
I mean, I go back to what I just talked about, the consumer, and the biggest pain point when it comes to running is if you ask people, running is hard. So our dream was to make running easy.
Yeah.
And so that's the way we approach this surfer franchise. And on that journey, we're like, what would be amazing if you could build a shoe that it just like one of our founders called it the e-bike, like if it's running by itself.
I like that.
So how do you use the engineering of the bottom in it so the shoe has the smoothest ride possible, like almost runs by itself. So the way On works, we like to create prototypes to test them and to improve them. That's what we call monsters. That's actually the way the monster was built. But we build this kind of prototype of shape that kind of collapse one by one like a domino effect. And ultimately what we did is we have new tools like simulation that helped us to optimize with the computer the way this looks, and that became CloudTec Phase. So if you look at Cloudsurfer or Cloudsurfer Max, I don't know if the video is working today. I have the Cloudsurfer Max here. So this is the shape, and really the idea is as you land on the hill, the first cloud is going to collapse, and then the second one, third one, and so on. And if you look at the slow motion video, you actually see every single cloud collapsing one by one until you take off. And that's really helping you to guide your footstep to create a ride which is as smooth as possible.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's a huge improvement over the, I guess the legacy CloudTec pods that the shoes used to see, prior to 2021, 2022, or 2021. I think that it's definitely creates a better landing, better transition, better just comfort overall. I think this is obvious to a lot of people, but it used to be very discernible clouds and cloud pods. And since then, it's slimmed down a little bit. There's more that you can still, as anyone can watch the video, the Cloudsurfer Max, you can still, they go the whole way through. Will there be a move to even bring them closer together, or even make clouds an aesthetic choice rather than a actual cut, hollowed out part of the midsole? Is that potentially something that we could see in the future?
So I would say when we look at the midsole,
Yeah.
the goal is to make to create the best possible experience. Now, what's happening at the moment is the biggest revolution, if you look at the ingredients, is the foams. The foams, there's a totally new generation of
For
foams.
sure.
You've experienced in the past years that revolution. What's also interesting is they used to be in racers. Now there's a lot of benefits for every runner, because yes, these foams help you run faster, but they also help you run longer with less pain, which is a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Now the traditional CloudTec, the way we did it in the beginning, does not really work with that kind of foam. So what we always try to do is, instead of just adding a slab of foam below the foot, we always try to engineer it. So in the time of, let's call it EVA, CloudTec helped EVA be softer. In the era of the new generation of foam, we have a whole lab working on how do we engineer these foams. So it's not just a slab of foam below the foot, but we engineer them in a way so you can add a benefit on top.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's so I'm not saying there is in terms of aesthetics, we're never going to try to close the holes. But what you might see is we might go away from holes on some models, but you will never see a slab of foam. You will always see something interesting. Like if you look at the Cloud Boom Strike, you have the drop in midsole, so you can be standing against the foam, and that brings a huge benefit in terms of experience. Yeah. And there is more coming up in the next seasons.
That's exciting. Yeah. I mean, and even if you go back to some of the other shoes, like the Federer doesn't have a cloud style midsole, so it's obvious that the choice is there. I've always just and I think it looks great, by the way. I think if it looks great and it works, then that's issues there.
I'm a massive fan of the Monster, for example, and I think there is a benefit of one of our franchises, let's say one of our families, to keep that original CloudTec. Like, it feels a bit weird. It feels like you feel what we call mechanical cushioning. It feels dynamic as well. You feel alive in a way, like when running in that shoe. Now, if you don't want to feel your shoes, go to Surfer. Like, we did everything so you feel nothing, and you can really focus on your run. So, I think that's also the reason why we have different families.
Yeah, I get that. Is the Monster your personal favorite model, or what's your favorite one to run in?
Yeah, I would say I'm quite a big fan of the Monster. I'm also obviously working on the next generations, and I like that family. It's very expressive, and you can just dare to push it further.
Well, but there's also the Cloud Monster. There's also the Cloud Monster Hyper, which is like an elevated version of the Monster.
Exactly.
Is that shoe are we seeing the next version of that anytime soon?
Yeah, 26 is
okay, gotcha.
Renewal for that family, and exciting stuff coming up.
Nice. Say no more. No,
no, I will not.
More if you want to. I want to ask you, speaking of technologies, can you talk more about LightSpray? Because that has been, I think, a very interesting technology that On has almost really pioneered. You've had the LightSpray lab at multiple multiple activations around major marathons. I saw it in Boston this past spring. You also had it in New York, but I didn't get to see it then. We were just crazy busy. But it's a pretty cool thing to see in person. Like, if anyone's listening and you get the chance to see the LightSpray machine in person, I'm not sure if you're still going to be touring around with it, but it's a really cool thing to see this shoe fabricated in basically a couple minutes with robot arms and LightSpray spraying on this technology to the upper. So can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, shoes have been made in a similar way for a long time. I would say at least the way we do uppers in the 70s, we were already making the shoes in a similar way. Um, it's 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 a lot of people touching the product to handmade. It's complex to make. It's in a way it's expensive to make as well, and it's not the best for the environment. Or we feel like we can improve it. Or we also all know that it's made in Asia. So yeah, how do we? At one point, this is going to change, and it's always somebody has to start, and yeah, it started with. I think a student we met at a fair who just like came up with that technology, and we were
Oh,
like,
wow.
oh, that's something that we could apply to shoes. And it took us a few years to make it work, and we managed to make it work. And the biggest statement we could make was winning Boston Marathon,
Oh, right.
which
Yeah.
happened with Helen.
Right.
And to me, it's only the beginning. I think last week we officially opened the factory in Zurich. So for
Oh,
me, like, I
nice.
mean, you make an upper in 3 minutes. You can produce locally. The impact for the environment is super reduced, and you can totally customize the fit of
Yeah.
your upper. So there's a lot of benefits. And what we're working on, and I'm not gonna tell you more about that, but it's to me like the success on LightSpray is not just the showcase or just having a few athletes winning races. It's really scaling it up and really creating the future of running shoes with it. And that's basically what we're working on, like just making sure that at some point we can scale up
Yeah.
LightSpray.
You don't have one with you, do you?
I don't have one in hand
Do
today,
you?
but
Okay.
yeah, if
All
I
right,
go
that's
down a
fine.
few floors.
The because if someone's watching it, you probably know what it looks like, or you've seen it around, or maybe online or something. But it's basically a race style midsole, and then it has this one piece upper that's it's not 3D. What would you call it? Because it's not 3D printed, but what would you call the actual?
As of today, I would call it it's a sock. In a way, it looks like a sock that is
Yeah.
it's sprayed over a foot. So we have when creating shoes, we work around a last. The last is the shape of a foot. That's basically like we're taking millions of measures. We do an average shape of foot, and we usually build the upper of a product around that last. That's the last that we take, and we have this robot spraying that upper on top of the last.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is it's melted against the midsole, so
Okay.
you don't have any interference between the midsole and the foot. You're just standing on the foam. So to me, one of the biggest benefit is also the experience that you get really running directly on the foam with no glue, no sock liner, no strobe board, like really on. And then ultimately that's the fit that you get from that sock. And for
Yeah.
racing, it's a pure sock. And ultimately, as we move on, we'd like to evolve a little bit the shape of
Could you potentially
and the
do?
benefits.
Oh, sorry about that. Could you potentially do sprays or basically customize to certain foot shapes? Is that possible to do that with that technology, or does it have to be do you program in a certain mold and then that's it?
No, I mean, so if you let's say if you scan the foot of an athlete, you print out the last, then you can spray a different shape. So you could definitely
Is that what you did
customize.
for? So is that basically what you did for Helen then?
It's what we do for top athletes.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, let's see how we can what we can scale up. I mean, the we have to choose a way. Like for athletes, we want to do the best for them to win. I think when it comes to let's say what we call the everyday runner, like when it comes to everyone, like customization is not the main focus, but potentially at some point it could become one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that for a premium price tag. Obviously, if you're getting something,
Yeah.
a bespoke shoe, there's probably going to be a little bit extra on that. But as we've seen with people paying for $500 for a race day shoe, I'm sure that's something that's approachable to a certain contingency of people. Like I could totally see a number of people paying $350, $400 if they have an upper that fits exactly to their foot shape. But
I mean, what's exciting ultimately to me is when you start creating a product, you identify a problem that you want to solve, and then the solution has always been the same, like materials stitched together, and maybe a little bit of let's say plastic pieces to create a foothold and so on. And now we have a totally different solution, and we're at the very beginning of exploring what we can do with it. So you can think just having like a totally different solution, we could end up with pretty exciting stuff in the future.
yeah, I mean, this is something I've been interested in for a long time, and I think some brands are trying to solve it. But the idea that we've invested so much into midsoles and making shoes lighter, which makes sense, but there hasn't been a huge amount of, I would say, progress or technological innovation for an upper of a shoe. I mean, it's still, for the most part, laces, tongue, upper, strip it down if you want it to be lighter. But as far as actual fit and performance, I feel like sometimes the upper is overlooked, especially in race day shoes. I feel like because of how light you want the shoe, I think a lot of times the fit suffers because you don't have some of that support or structure or pieces that help keep the foot in place. And over 26 miles, I feel like depending on the runner, if you don't have that perfect fit, it can create some significant issues.
Yeah, and I mean, if you had a chance, did you have a chance to try LightSpray?
I did try it. Yeah, I think it was a little bit. Was it big for me? I let my assistant editor. He ran a half marathon in it, and he really liked it. But yeah, it was. I thought it was. It didn't quite fit my foot the way that I had hoped, but I really enjoyed the sensation of it. I liked the idea of it, but just for me, I think it was a little bit off. So I just handed it off to my assistant editor, who's like a half size bigger than me. Yeah.
I mean, it can be very close to your foot, and really. I mean, the goal is to fit you as a second skin, and that's what we are. I mean, as you have a sock, now we have to find a way. I don't really want to use customization. I mean, that would be like really almost like fitting every individual consumer.
Right,
but at least that the sock can slightly adapt. But I think the beauty about it is really how it wraps your foot like a second skin. Mm-hmm. It's definitely an interesting way to I know Meg elevate the fit experience.
Yeah, I believe Meg also had a pair. I know she really liked the fit of it. It was a hell to get on in the first time because I didn't know I don't think I watched the video of like how to do it, so I was doing it my own way, which was probably. But then once I realized how you're supposed to do it, it was easy to do. But I was trying to do something. I think I put on a bunch of bacon grease on my foot to get it on, but it all worked out.
Again, today it is a shoe built to win races. So yeah, it's not meant to be easy to get in. It's meant to really hold your foot as best as possible to make you win the race with the lightest possible weight, because that's also a massive benefit from it. But now, as we want to scale up, that's exactly what we're working on, like making sure that everybody can get into it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what, I was trying to flex on the local turkey trot, and show up in a pair of LightSpray, but I ended up not. But hopefully next time, because there's no better feeling than showing up to a 5K race that nobody cares about, people wearing sweatpants, and putting on the LightSpray.
Then everybody's talking to you then.
Yeah. That's the goal. But okay, so the LightSpray is pretty exciting. One of the very exciting things from On. Now, there's a lot of other stuff, and especially, I mean, you were talking about Helen. We've also seen a lot of great track performances. I mean, it's pretty cool to see the way that On is for sure showing up on race day. I mean, like, and really doing some cool stuff. So talk about that commitment to kind of going all in on running, because I think you could have taken the road less travel, the easier road, and been like, oh, we're just gonna go all in on lifestyle, Cloudsurfer, whatever, soft winds. But I feel like there's a definite dedication and commitment and investment to performance running. So can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I would say if you follow on, you can. I mean, you understand that there is no limit to winning. Like On is a very ambitious brand, and they
Yeah.
have they want to be a leading brand in running, but in the world of sports. So we made a decision to go into track and to invest into athletes. You do it and you commit, and it's quite some money you spend to innovate, to invest into athletes. You do it or you don't do it. So if you do it, you fully commit. And
Yeah.
what I really like is, I think now maybe 4 years ago we hired some of the best in the industry. And if you remember where we came from, Cloud Boom Eco 1,
Yeah.
there were a lot of
Yeah,
work
dude.
to do to get to create best in class racing shoes. So yeah, our like recent journey has been to catch up with competition, and now I think with Boom Strike, and you will also see that's going to continue to evolve, and then also the range of spikes. We have a highly competitive range of products, and I think that the
Yeah.
athletes are proving that it's really working. And for us, this is also how you learn how to make better products for every consumer. This is how you show the world that you know what you're doing, and you can make excellent running shoes. So yeah, obviously we want to win in running, and this is one of the ways to show this to the consumer.
Yeah, and it is interesting because I think people would think if you make shoes, you just make running shoes and and that's it. But I've seen plenty of people, you're talking about going all in, and I've seen plenty of brands, not going to name names, Under Armour, try to get into running or performance running and then just fall flat because they don't go all in on it. And like Under Armour I'm always rooting for them because they're from Baltimore, which is where we're from, but they always seem to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out and never just going all in, even though they have they've done very well in some aspects, like with Sharon Lokedi and some of the other runners, but there just doesn't seem to be that passion to go really all in. And the fact that On has done it, I think, very well, and not just in performance, but also in general, and that you could see like Nike is now having to respond to that. Like obviously they've seen you as a threat in the last 5 years, and they kind of lost some of that foothold. I mean, they still show up on race day, but there's definitely that. I feel like On has that edge. You know what I mean? Where it's when you see On, like it's like they're going for it.
I think the world of running, like when it comes to product, is extremely competitive. I also feel like all the big brands are giving their A game at the moment. And on top of this, I think if you look at sports in general, like it's about the marginal gains, it's about perfection, it's about innovation. And if you want to win, this is the way you have to work. So that's the mindset we have. When it comes to high performance, it's about, trying to get the best athletes. That's one thing. We're still a young brand, and I think the more we grow, maybe the more athletes we can get. But on the product side, it's really about every single detail that can help them to win.
Yeah.
And this has to be the mindset on everything that we do if we want to take a spot at the top.
Yeah, and one of the most amazing things to me is that 12 years ago, nobody knew who On was. No offense, but maybe even 8 years ago. And outside of smaller running communities or just a general like sneakerheads or whatever, those people knew on saw on, or especially triathletes, I feel like. But then how did On become On as they are today in such a short time? Because honestly, it's a pretty crazy up and to the right curve from 5 years ago till now. What do you think the magic or secret sauce is that kind of helped that?
How long do you have?
I mean, dude, we got time.
No, but I mean, I don't know if it's. I think it's many actions put together that brought us here. I think on the athlete side, I think working with Roger, I think it's 2019, is one
huge.
element.
Yeah.
I think innovation is a lot. I mean, if I look, I'm saying everybody's giving its A game at the moment when it comes to running brands, but I think if you try, you might fail, but if you continue to try, you might win. And I think for us trying, and I mentioned earlier that the Cloud was the first shoe that made it in the eyes of a lot of people. Not necessarily people we wanted to reach out to, but we had something that people understood, and then we knew we had a recipe that works, that we can find a way to scale. I think if you analyze sportswear brand, the credibility into a sport is extremely important to grow and to be seen. That's why we doubled on running. That's why we want to win in running. And you can also see, I mean, all the brands who lost their focus into being the best at performance, and they lost a lot on the way. So I think it's really trying to understand how the world is working. It's the consumer trends. It's about being different. It's and then I'm talking about product a lot, but I mean I mentioned Roger, but I think also ultimately it's the product, it's the story you tell to the world through marketing. It is the distribution strategy. It's also working with the right partners to be in store and to be seen.
Yeah.
It's a combination of things. So I'm not going to give you like a secret recipe like this, but it's definitely somehow a lot of right decisions made.
Do you think there's also an underdog mentality where it's like we're going back 5 years, we're starting out, but we want to take down these people above us? Do you think there's that as well?
Yeah, there is definitely a mindset, but I often say, like, if you look in the past 15 years, how many new running brands have you seen? And I mean, Hoka and On are probably the ones that are now pretty high. There's other brands as well. There's actually a lot of new brands coming in these days as well. But and what's the common the common recipe? Like just disrupting, like just coming up with a different point of view. It's not just coming here just by accident. It's like just observing the world, observing runners, and realizing that maybe there is a different solution to what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, if I really had to go back to the secret sauce, is just daring to come up with something different. I mean, coming up with this strong point of difference, and then really working with the whole ecosystem, and starting with run specialty. They're always happy to get something different to offer them what they need to stand out in their area. That we are carrying that brand, that product that nobody has. And then ultimately, you have to start making great products to make sure that you can scale up.
Yes. For run specialty, what's the highest selling SKU that you have? Is it the Cloudsurfer?
It's the Monster. It's the Monster.
Oh, the Monster, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would say Monster, Surfer, and Runner are definitely the three that are winning, and the Monster is a bit of an outlier. I would say it's a bit of a unique product. And then I would say surfer more neutral and
Right.
runner more stability. That's
Yeah. And so going back to, so with trends and technologies, how do you keep up with everything that's changing, and especially with everything that's, like you were saying, every brand is on their A game right now. And it's true. Like, dude, running shoes right now, it's crazy because, for instance, we've been trying to put together our best race day shoes of 2025 and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, they're all good. It's honestly just pick one, because at this point, you know, forever the Vaporfly was so far ahead, or the Alpha Fly, and then now everyone's caught up. So it's almost a matter of preference at this point for what feels good. The performance aspect is covered, like the foams, the plates, everything is there, the lightweight. So how do you keep up with that standard and try to move past that, or even go higher?
yeah. I mean, first I would say I love working for On because that's the mindset. You know, like it's we want to create the future of running, and this has been our recipe, and that's something that's the path we want to continue on. Now, when it comes to it takes 2 years to create a product. It takes more to create an innovative product. So it's also difficult because you have to really guess what's happening. And personally, I think I was always called a bit of a dreamer. I like to observe. I like to just immerse myself wherever I go. And being in running, being in other industries, or like just in the world in general, you see things changing, and you can dream of what it could be, you know. So it's a lot of observation. I mean, obviously there is a lot of consumer research data and so on, but to me this is just a complement to just looking around. And on top of this, I think there is also what people don't see is the industry, the factories, the suppliers. They are coming up with new ingredients or new way of building a product. And sometimes you're like, oh wow, I mean, I see that insight on the consumer side that they want, let's say, just lighter products. And I also see that there is a new way to manufacture a product that is eliminating everything that is creating waste. They could come together, and then you come up with something that is new and something that is really answering the need of the consumer. So I mean, I could give you a very rational answer and say you follow WSGN and the trends and so on, but my personal answer is really, just look around, and observe. Run with runners all around the world. That's the luxury we have. But also just look around, like what's happening in other industries, how the world evolves. I think the way running evolves is fascinating at a consumer standpoint. I mean, I would when I started running, I think in '96, running was quite different. And I love what running became, you know, like so popular, so joyful. At
this point in time, running is, it has to be I know there was a huge running boom in the 70s. Obviously I wasn't around for that, but I feel like it has to be the peak of running so far. It can't go higher, but I'm just saying, who could foresee the excitement and, like you said, joy, and it's not just road running, it's trail running, it's ultra running, it's track, it's everything is just huge, and it's pretty awesome to see.
For sure,
what is so let's talk about the Cloudsurfer Max a little bit, because that's I guess when this podcast comes out, that'll probably be about the same time that's coming out. So this is basically evolution of the Cloud Eclipse. So that's been streamlined into the Cloudsurfer line. So now that we have the Cloudsurfer Max, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, cloud at the time when we built the Cloud Eclipse, we were building the range. So every shoe had a different name, but ultimately, when you look at Cloudsurfer and Cloudsurfer or Cloud Eclipse, we're answering the same problem. What I mentioned earlier, like, yeah, running is hard. Let's make it easy. The solution we use is CloudTec Phase. So the way we engineer the bottom unit to really create a very smooth ride. So Cloud Eclipse was just a max version of Cloudsurfer. So it made more sense to just bring them into the same family.
Yeah.
And really here, yeah, the approach was, I think when we briefed it, it was probably called Cloud Eclipse 2. So the idea was to evolve the Cloud Eclipse, and Cloud Eclipse, it's like it's the first model, like you come up with something new. It's good. It's not perfect. We actually had really good feedback. I understood you like the Cloud Eclipse quite
definitely.
a lot, but just also looking at the feedback, like what can we do better? And that's really the way we build it, and we identify what we want to keep, what we want to evolve to make it a better shoe. And that's been the approach, building that shoe. So if you like the Cloud Eclipse, like the Surfer Max is definitely the evolution, and you will recognize a few elements from it.
Yeah. So can you walk through the changes for somebody who has maybe run in the Cloud Eclipse and now is going to the Cloudsurfer Max? What is the update there?
Yeah. So and I have it here. Like, let's say the midsole and the technology, I call the engine. Like, when we, as much as possible, we try to keep the engine as it was on Cloud Eclipse. Same foam, same technology. Now, when we built Cloud Eclipse, you were standing on the top of the midsole. And I mean, actually, something that people really liked about the Eclipse is it was quite stable. I was quite stable because it was not as soft as other shoes. And we're not trying to do the softest shoe. We're trying to make the shoe that really works the best. But also because the stability was quite mentioned. And if you look at what's happening in max cushioning, I really feel like max cushioning as a trend is remaining, but a lot of people are looking into more stability version. You see, for example, like a Glycerin GTS is doing really well. You see on the Hoka side as well, I think Harry Gaviota. Like, there is a lot of shoes that are max cushioning stability that are working. So we didn't want to make it a stability shoe, but still interesting that people like the shoe because it was quite stable. And a way to make it stable is not to stand on top of the midsole, but to stand inside the midsole. So if you look at the midsole here, your foot is here, and your foot is not here. So there is what we call a cradle. So you sit inside the shoe. So that's a first big element, that you don't stand on top of the midsole. You stand inside the midsole, and you have this feeling that you're more inside the shoe.
Yeah.
Another feedback we had was that the speedboard or TPU plate that we had on the outsole, when you run on gravels, you can hear some noise, and it's not the most comfortable. So we did eliminate it. It was here, and in the end, we really worked with the geometry to keep the stability. So we keep the same stability as the Cloud Eclipse, but without that TPU plate in the bottom. And then comfort is a big story here. So the way we worked on the upper, we have a knitted tongue, a knitted collar, and the idea is to really create a fit that snugs your foot. So to me, when I summarize what's new, is more comfort and more stability, or at least a more engineered stability.
Yeah.
Then in terms of, let's say, cushioning, ride, very consistent.
And in terms of weight, is it 292 grams? Is that right?
I don't have it with me now, but
I think that's right.
I can tell you right after. Yeah.
I think I looked it up right before, and I think it was 292, 10.3 ounces. Okay, so that's right in there for a daily trainer shoe. And I think the stack height's 37 millimeters in the heel.
Yeah, it's
37, 37.
36 in the heel and 30 in the
Okay.
forefoot. So yeah,
Okay.
6 millimeter. It's like there's one more millimeter in stack height overall versus the Eclipse.
Okay, gotcha. Um, and so when you're talking about what runner this is for, is it that runner that still wants that comfortable feel, forward motion, effortless, but a touch of stability as well?
Yeah. When we look at Cloudsurfer, again, I always go back to my pain point. Running is hard. Let's make it easy. It's to
Mm-hmm.
me, this Cloudsurfer as a family is the daily trainer, is the shoe for
Yeah.
daily runs. And
Right.
the difference between a Surfer and a Surfer Max is cushioning. I would say you need more cushioning when you're hitting the ground harder, when you run longer. So I
Yeah.
think it's a preference between more or less cushioning, but quite a similar experience in terms of the ride.
I feel like On has done really over the last since its IPO. I feel like things have really done well. I mean, I see the quarterly reports each year or each month, year over year, and the growth has been wild. It's pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, pretty insane. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do. I mean, we are doing the best
Yeah.
to make it happen, let's say. And I mean, to your question earlier, I think the recipe seems to be working. We'll continue. I
Yeah.
mean, my role is to make sure that we have the best possible product.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like we're still at the beginning of the journey. We've been hiring a lot of people from
Nice.
the industry. It's going to continue to improve because yeah, some people landed here, did not even touch the product I'm talking about today. So I think we've managed to build a
Yeah.
very solid team with the best people in the industry, and we'll continue
Nice.
to improve. And in my role, that's all I can do to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
the quarterly results are growing. And I actually strongly believe. I mean, just also what happened to Nike lately. I strongly believe
Yeah.
that if we keep that momentum to innovate, to strive for better and better,
Mm-hmm.
that will follow. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Um,
we're committed to.
and yeah, that's awesome. And so I know you're in Switzerland, and as with pretty much every shoe brand manufacturing in Southeast Asia, are the tariffs also affecting On as well? I mean, I imagine they are to some degree, or potential tariffs on the Vietnam side. Is that something that you've had to work with and kind of bake into your design and development for the shoes then?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it has a massive impact. Also,
Mm-hmm.
what you might not see is the US is our biggest market.
Right.
I mean, obviously, it is the biggest market, but also for European brands, it's not always a given that it is our biggest market. It is our biggest market by far, and yeah, I mean, products coming from Vietnam to the US are
Yeah.
directly impacted. So, I, I mean, part of me, I mean, I'm just trying to focus on what we have to focus on is understanding the runners, understanding
Mm-hmm.
how we can come up with the best possible solution, and for sure, it will potentially impact how we come to solutions. It will potentially impact prices as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say from my side, my focus is just
Gotcha.
on making sure that we create the right products.
Yeah. Speaking of, I want to mention one more shoe that we didn't really touch on, and this is on the trail side. So
Yeah.
the On Cloud Ultra Pro, our trail reviewers just reviewed that, and it also had a great finish at Western States
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. Was it third place, or am I making that up? What place did it finish in? I forget. Anyways, all that to say, I'm not gonna
I
push it.
forgot as well, but I know it did well.
But anyways, all our trail reviewers love that shoe. I think the review for that just came out. And so is there also, it's exciting to see this push more into trail running too, because that's another part of running that has really blown up over the last few years. I mean, we're seeing a lot of interest in that, especially as people maybe, they tackle a lot of those road running goals from the marathon and they think what's next. And it's just a natural path to move to longer distances, which may be a 50K, 50 miler or beyond. So it's exciting to see on moving into trail running and taking it pretty seriously with some excellent footwear.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned a few times we're a young team. We have a reason to do trail running because trail running is part of running, but also living in Switzerland, we have amazing trails around.
Right.
And we apply that recipe I was talking about. At some point, if you want to win, let's team up with athletes. Let's work on every small detail that can help people win. For the story, UTMB has part of UTMB is going through Switzerland, so it's kind of it's part of our playground.
Right. Yeah.
And so we studied the full race and really tried to understand what it takes to win it. It's not just about having the fastest product; it's about having the product that can be your best partner for the journey, let's say. And I'm extremely proud of this product. I think the team did an amazing job. It deserves its very positive reviews everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, to connect to what we've been talking about, I think the way they engineered the bottom unit, the way the clouds are working to add more stability depends on how you run or which phase of the ultra you're in. I think it's pretty fascinating as well. I think we managed to bring newness into that world as well. And I'm a massively avid trail runner, so I'm extremely excited that we have that shoe that I can run in as well.
Did you test that shoe a lot as well?
Yeah, we actually worked a lot with athletes. The idea was to make a shoe that is a shoe to win, like UTMB, or to win that kind of races. Yeah. And we have very passionate teams, so a lot of us have been contributing to testing the products.
Awesome. I think were you did you go to the Olympics last year when they were in Paris?
Yes, of course. Yeah, okay. Being French.
Okay, I was gonna say. I
was not gonna miss it. Yeah.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the Swiss House because I went to that was the best one there that I got to go, that I saw, and it was a free one because some of them charge I don't know, a lot of money to get into, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. But the Swiss House, I did go to that, and it was awesome. It was such a cool vibe.
Yeah. So pretty cool. I'm French, so hopefully you liked what France did as well.
Paris was awesome, but just to give a shout out, I feel like they had a little bit of a presence there, so it was cool to see.
Yeah. No, it was a really good time, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so if there's a Swiss and a French matchup, you must be conflicted on that.
My wife is English, so yeah, we mix.
Oh man, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. The World Cup has to be hell in your house.
Exactly. Yeah. My kids are more Swiss in a way, so yeah, they play the neutral card in the middle.
Okay, I got you. They're basically a neutral territory. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to cover, but it was cool talking to you and getting to learn more about what goes on behind the scenes.
No, same. Amazing talking to you as well, and thanks for the opportunity.
yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure we'll probably see you at TRE, but maybe before then or as well.
Yeah, I'll be at TRE for sure. Yeah.
Are you going to be at UTMB as well?
Most likely. Yeah. Let's see.
So we'll have some of our Thomas and Taylor, they'll be there. So, and
Sounds
Carl.
good.
So maybe you'll see them. All right. Well,
Great.
Ed, thanks so much. And I'll talk to you soon.
Same. Yeah. Have a good day.
Get a good stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, DROP.